think she is very capable of doing that, but I think that I don't really have anything to say this question. I got nothing.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Well, there's my callback happened today. Hey book lovers, we are Ellen and Sarah and this is Besties and Books, where we drink wine and talk fantasy. So today's episode we'll be concluding our deep dive into Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and we'll be tackling chapters 31 to 39. Please note this episode will contain spoilers, so if you have not read Fourth Wing or any of the books in the Empyrean series, consider this your time to exit the video now, because this episode will contain spoilers for all 3 books in the series. With that being said, let's get into chapter 31. So in this chapter, Violet and Xaden are sorting her damaged room when they find a book and a note left from Violet's father before his death, reminding her to take heed of folklore. Xaden confirms that he has no intention of falling for Violet, but Violet doesn't buy that. After some sexually charged banter, Violet declares that Xaden doesn't get to dictate how she feels, and they agree to keep things uncomplicated between themselves for now.
For now.
Yes, for now. And what does uncomplicated even mean? Liam accompanies Violet to the reunification party, and Violet shows her support for Liam by linking arms with him after she notices that others are staring at his rebellion relic. She leaves the party early and tracks down Xaden, who is sitting out on the parapet. When Garrick and Bodhi warn her off seeing Xaden in his current mood, she responds by saying, "I'm just his." Love it. All right. What do you think Violet's dad's note was about?
What do I think now? What did I think at the time?
Both.
Do you know, I was so convinced all of book 1 that he was about to pop up.
Yeah, I'm still convinced he will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I kept going, I actually kept flicking back to the beginning where I think it says he died of heart problems. So it's not like he disappeared. But the whole book I kept thinking, he's just going to pop up, right? And he's going to leave these little clues and then he never pops up. But maybe there's still time.
Yeah.
But at this point when I read it, I thought, okay, obviously he's there's been a few clues now alluding to the fact that in terms of the folklore, the Venom, more clues that they potentially may be out there, they may exist, and also that the history that they have been told is perhaps not what they think it is. Dodgy history.
So my biggest theory on Violet's dad is, I think, because you know how General Sorrengail got really sick when she was pregnant with Violet, and that's why she sort of blames Violet's physical ailments to be
on her fever or something.
Yes.
Yep.
I think Violet's dad turned Venom to save General Sorrengail during her pregnancy with Violet. That's like my wild fan theory, and I think he's going to pop up at the end.
Why would him turning Venom?
Because he didn't have any powers. So he was a scribe, so he never had a signet power from dragons, and the only way to draw power without a signet is to become Venom and draw it from the earth.
And then saved her life when she was sick.
Yeah. That's my wild fan theory.
Well,
to be continued.
In 2 years' time.
When the next book of, I was going to say Onyx Storm, but the Empyrean theory comes out. Yeah. I know, we'll see. I don't know. He's just...
But then do you think that Violet's mum knows that he never died?
Yeah.
Like she was trying to cover up because he turned Venom, so she's covering for him?
I think so, because she never wants to talk about him. And I know they burn everything to sort of condemn their souls to Malik, but she refuses to talk about him at all.
Although, is that burning to Malik just a writer's tradition? So they do that as well with the scribes?
Oh, actually, good question. I don't know.
I don't know that it ever mentions it.
Yeah, I don't think it does. That's a great question. But I think either way, her sort of being elusive about Violet's dad is very suspicious.
Agreed.
And he was apparently the love of her life. And then, I don't know, she pushes Violet to become a dragon rider and become stronger, even though she's considered weak, like her father. Like she was never ashamed of that before. Maybe he was, because he wasn't a dragon rider and he was a scribe and he didn't have the power and he had to draw on the earth to become Venom. Maybe General Sorrengail holds some resentment about that, but...
Oh, yeah, maybe. It doesn't want the daughter to follow suit.
Yes.
Oh, you could be onto something.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll have to see. But then I was sort of shocked we learned more about Brennan at the end of this book, and that sort of also, I thought, shook things up a bit. It made me think, oh, maybe, Violet's dad isn't going to come back into the picture given what happens with Brennan. But anyway.
How many can they bring back?
Yeah, because there's Jack Barlow as well.
True. Yeah, I think
that trope's been used.
I think their dad's dead.
R.I.P. Father Sorrengail.
Yeah, I think he's done for. I think we'll see more clues from him. I think he'll keep dropping in. I just don't think he's going to come back into flesh.
Maybe not.
Unless they can somehow resurrect dead bodies.
Well, you know how they're looking for a cure for Venom and Onyx Storm? I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but maybe the Venom, the souls are salvageable. Don't know.
Maybe.
But then they keep saying there is no cure, so...
Oh, there's definitely a cure.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think Xaden's going to stay Venom, do you?
Yeah, I do. So
you?
Once I found out he was Venom in Iron Flame, I was so shook by that ending. So shook. I remember reading it for the first time and I just went into the biggest slump. I was so depressed. I was like, I'm never going to read ACOTAR. Like, Fourth Wing is life. I was just upset because I just felt like, not I knew, but I felt like he was going to stay Venom. And then part of me didn't like the ending to Onyx Storm because I felt like it proved me right. And I was like, I predicted this. Like, he was going to stay Venom. I'm disappointed. Like, I wanted something else.
I think he would totally be cured.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll see. Let's take bets.
There's more going on there. Especially with that other Venom girl that sort of pursues them. What was her name again in Onyx Storm? Theophany or something?
I was going to say, was it Stephanie? But yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know. It was something that rhymes with Stephanie.
I think it was Theophany. I think you're right.
Yeah. I digress. So, Violet ends the night tracking down Xaden alone on the parapet. Did you think this was sort of romantic that she went out on the parapet to bring him back in?
I loved it.
I did too.
Especially when she waltzes out there without a care in the world, and she sort of reflects on the fact that, the last time I did this, I was, quaking in my shoes and terrified and thinking I was going to die, and look at me in my barefoot and my satin ball dress or whatever she's wearing, just waltzing out there. I thought that was really cute. And then she challenges Xaden to the, you shouldn't be out there, well, you shouldn't be out here either, blah, 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 and he says, I have shadows, I can catch myself. And she responds, oh yeah, whoops, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I liked the whole
love
thing.
It.
And it was very symbolic because she's decided, look, I'm already in, I've already fallen for this guy, so what's the harm in holding back? I'm just going to go out on a limb. And then she literally walks out on a limb.
I love everything about it. And you're right, it's so symbolic. And also because, the first time she walked the parapet, she was terrified and didn't want to do it and was so scared of dying. Whereas here, she's voluntarily doing it. Like, how much growth does that show?
And again, we're talking, just only over 9 months. So not a huge amount of time. Yeah.
So Xaden says he's not falling for her. But why is he acting like a dark, broody book boyfriend with a tragic backstory? Actually, I hate that question. Can we scrap that question? I don't even know how to answer that.
You should put that in as a blooper. What went through my head was like, fuck, I didn't get time to read all the extra questions. But we can answer that. We can. What about?
Well, let's scrap this question at least. That was terrible. So when Violet says, you don't get to dictate how I feel to Xaden. To
Darth Vader.
I was like, I actually don't mind that nickname of Xaden for Violet and Xaden. Violet says, "You don't get to dictate how I feel," to Xaden. Violet totally flipped the script on Xaden here. Do you think she's like genuinely gaining emotional control in this relationship, or is she just like growing out of that immaturity a little bit that we saw earlier with their communication issues, and she's like, I'm a woman, I have my own feelings, you don't get to tell me how I feel, like this is me and I'm going to be the real raw and vulnerable self that I want to be.
Yeah, I see this as a real like step up in her confidence.
Yeah.
So he's just sort of spent the last however long saying, you can't fall for me, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do so and so. And she just says, whoa, 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 you don't get to control my emotions. You know, if I fall in love or if I decide I want to take a leap and dive into this, you don't have a say in that. So, sorry, dude. So I think this is one of the moments where she actually shows, there's a lot of times where she is quite immature and their conversation really grates on my nerves because they just sound like 18-year-olds. But this moment I loved.
Yeah, me too.
So
it was like,
go, girl.
Yeah. All right, let's get into chapter 32.
Okay. Chapter 32. Violet has realized she is in love with him. It doesn't matter if he feels the same way or not. She heads out onto the parapet in her party dress, and Xaden is pissed when he sees her. She agrees to get off the parapet only if he will come with her. She's ready to risk her heart to him if he wants to give this relationship a go, wherever it will lead. Xaden can't make any promises, but is done trying to fight against it. They head back to Xaden's room and continue with another extended spicy scene with the usual lightning storms and broken furniture until Garrick interrupts with an urgent summons as they are under attack. Oh my gosh.
First of all, love a spicy scene after a fight. Love it.
Also, just get right into it.
Yeah. It adds to the tension. You feel angry as a reader. You're getting frustrated with them and you're like, just sort it out. Like, stop arguing over the whatever.
Get
so
on.
when they like have sex after having a fight, I feel like you're already feeling anger as an emotive response, so it just makes the spicy scenes that much better. So loved that. Also, why he was out on the parapet, that was because it was the anniversary of his parents' death, right? That's why he was sort of all moody and broody, and he needed that time to himself. How much did you love, or did you think that this was sort of far-fetched, that she was able to break through to him, to pull him off that parapet and get him out of that depressive,
moody, gloomy mood?
Yeah.
I don't think she could have done it if he wasn't already in a frame of mind to want it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was probably already out there thinking about her. I think if she was like, maybe if it was a cold, like even if it had been months prior in their relationship, he probably would have been like, no. Maybe the fact that she also risked her own neck to do it, that probably just jolted him out of it. He seems legitimately concerned that she might fall to her death, so that probably just shocks him out of his shitty mood. If she'd stood on the sidelines and just said, hey Xaden, come on in, it probably wouldn't have had the same effect.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a bit of a shock value, and then the fact that he was probably not unhappy that she left the party to come find him.
I feel like it's a real turning point in their relationship, because they're like, let's make things uncomplicated. But then she's like coming to Xaden at the darkest point of the year for him and breaking through to him, and then they go back and have sex. So it's like, I feel like this is a turning point in their relationship. There's nothing uncomplicated about this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the time they go, oh, well, like he says to her, he's done fighting it. He's sort of, he's given in, and now it's gonna be what it is, and they're gonna roll with it, and complications or not. Yay! And I also like that, I feel like this is the point he confesses to her on the parapet. I have wanted you from the first second I saw you, which is one of the sort of in this book. In the second book, we hear a lot more of sort of his feelings, him speaking his feelings out loud. But in this book, this is one of the few moments where it sort of hits you like, oh, this guy actually is pretty infatuated with her. Like, we hear her thoughts all the time. We know she's infatuated with him. And then every now and we get these glimpses into, oh, he's actually very much into her as well. Yeah. I love it.
I love it so much.
Shall we move to chapter 33?
Let's do it. So Xaden and Violet rush to formation as the full quadrant is called. It's an emergency. So not... I feel like that's how I describe like a fire truck coming to my son. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So not having her flight jacket on hand, Violet grabs Xaden's jacket. Oh, so hot. The college is in complete chaos, so no one notices as she slips away from her wing leader's room and meets up with her crew. Ree teases her about whose flight jacket she is wearing and partially steps in front of her so that Dane can't see it.
Dane.
I know. Like, why is he still appearing at this point?
I feel like every time we mention his name, I just have the name to go, oh, Dane.
It's just like a big sigh. Like, whenever his name is said, there's a sigh. Under attack turns out to be war games rather than an actual enemy attack. For the war game scenario, wards are failing and there are unprecedented attacks along the borders. Wings are being sent in every direction as reinforcements, and Xaden have been instructed to set up his headquarters outside Athabine. Dane argues Violet being in his squad as she's a first year, and Athabine is beyond the wards. Violet steps between Xaden, Swade.
Dane is the Dane.
Violet steps. I'm thinking of now. Violet steps between Xaden and Dane when their argument escalates, and Dane senses that Violet has chosen Xaden. So, Athabine is outside the wards and is also where Xaden confided to Violet that he had flown a secretive mission previously. Is there a connection here? Xaden also reminds Violet to wear every single dagger she owns. Just being overly cautious. Sweet, overprotective, like Dane. Why do we love so much when you're wearing your book boyfriend's jacket? It's like the mind-to-mind talk. Or like when you start seeing someone for the first time and you wear their clothes. Oh, it's so good.
I think even in real life, I think guys like that. Right?
Yes.
And their girl wears their jumper.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I feel like we
it's
like
so
doing it
good.
because it's usually just, it's warm, it's big. If you spill wine all over it, it's not your, it's not your jumper. So
It smells like them.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just, there's something about a man's jumper. It's so good. Also, Ree, total MV fan club, stepping in front of Violet in this instance to block Dane's view of the jacket.
Good. She's so good. Not that it really helped in the long run because Dane picks up on it at the end of the chapter. And why does he care? Why does he care so much that she not go with Xaden? Is it jealousy? Is it that she's a first year and he's just trying to stick by the rules?
I feel like he's still concerned for her. Like, he doesn't trust Xaden. He doesn't know Xaden from a bar of soap, but he knows Violet. Well, he thinks he knows Violet anyway. So I think from his perspective, he still sees Xaden the same way Mira sees Xaden. And that's Xaden's the child of a rebellion leader. Yeah. Like, he's going to kill her. So, but then at the same time, if he knows Violet so well, why doesn't he trust her? I think he's just so set in his own head.
He still thinks that she is the naive scribe.
Yeah, that's true.
That sort of can't look out for herself. Fucking Dane.
Athabine also is beyond the wards. That is such a big deal. When you read this, what does it say about who the leadership is willing to risk? And also Dane trying to stop Violet from going. I didn't pick up on the foreshadowing here, but what was your thoughts on this chapter?
You could also interpret it that who do they trust the most? Like, who's the strongest that they would trust to go outside the ward? Or
That's true.
Whose life are they wanting to sacrifice the most? Oh, as soon as this point happened in the book, I was like, oh my god, something's happening. Because we know that Xaden has flown to Athabine before in his secret missions. We're not sure what they are, but we know he's been there. And then we hear, oh, this is interesting. Now he's being sent there. I wonder if this is, now we're starting to get a bit of a bad feeling about this. This is strange. And they're letting him hand pick his own squad.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Like, knowing that he will obviously pick the ones he trusts, which means the other relic, the children of the rebellion. the ones that have the relic. So it's all seeming to be set up for potentially something's going to go down. No, we don't want to happen.
Although, I'm a bit surprised, like reflecting back on it just now, I didn't think about this before. If he's allowed to pick his own squad and he picks children of the rebellion leaders, and you know how they're not supposed to gather in more than groups of 3, has leadership just sort of scrapped that rule for the purpose of the war games?
That is a good point.
Like, that's what makes me think they wanted them to die.
I think they definitely wanted them to die, but you would have thought that, I guess maybe they figured we won't be able to see them when they're there because there's more than 3, so we won't be able to have whoever it is that, is it Melgrim that has the ability to see when they gathered? He won't be able to see what's going on, but that possibly doesn't matter because we're sending X number of venom their way, so they won't survive anyway, so we don't need to see it, possibly.
Ooh, to be continued. All right, chapter 34.
Okay, Xaden's squad flies towards Athelbine, and Violet feels a sensation in her chest as they cross the barrier of the wards. Tarn explains that magic is wilder outside the wards. They rest just outside of Athelbine to prepare for what they may be about to face. Liam questions whether Violet knows what she is getting herself into in regards to her relationship with Xaden, saying, "It's just that I know his priorities." Xaden surprises Violet by openly holding her hand while sneaking her away for a few minutes alone. He massages out the knots in her legs from a long day of riding and then steals a long, hard kiss. They break apart abruptly, Xaden barely having time to apologize, when interrupted by 2 griffin flyers. Violet gathers her power ready to strike their enemies when Xaden stops her, asking her to trust him. Violet's heart almost stops when he turns to address the flyers familiarly. This was a huge moment in the book.
I know!
One of the few moments in the book, one of the key moments where you just go, or I just went, holy shit, what's happening here? So up until now, they have always thought that the Griffin Flyers obviously are their enemies, and you don't know that much about the Griffin Flyers, but they're sort of always painted in a just they're the enemy light.
Yeah, and we don't know that venom exists at this point either.
Correct.
So the Griffin Flyers are the enemy. Yeah.
So first of all, let's address quickly Liam's comment. What is that about when he says, "It's just that I know his priorities," and it sounds like, is he warning her to stay away from Xaden? Is he not sure whether Xaden's actually into her?
So at the time, that confused me. But now reflecting back on it, now that we've read the other books, I think for this, they knew about the Griffin Flyers. They knew about the venom. They knew all of that. And so in Liam's mind, he was like, well, Xaden's going to want to protect the people of Navarre. And there's this whole rebellion going on. And that's his priority. Is that rebellion movement. It's not going to be on a relationship. And the fact that Violet didn't even know that this was going on, just sort of as an outsider like Liam, I'd be thinking, well, she can't be that important to him. So just, you're going to get hurt here. Because if you're that important, he would have talked to you about it.
Yeah. And he possibly sees she's a young lady that's sort of looking to Xaden as a potential love interest. And that's sort of what's on her mind, and he's got all of this other stuff in his mind.
Yeah, I think so. It just complicates everything. It complicates the movement and the purpose that they're sort of striving for, and everything that they're risking, and avenging their parents, right? There's a bit of that too. So there's just a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack. And I have to say this, I was so betrayed when the Griffin Flyers turned up and Xaden was like familiar with them.
Oh,
I
totally.
felt that stomach sinking feeling.
Because they've just finally gotten to a point where you think things are going well for them. Yeah. And then this, and your reaction is, oh shit, it's all falling apart. And then he turns around and says, trust me. And that's always a... Triggered!
Yeah,
wait.
How can you say that?
You want me to trust you blindly? You want me to, what do you actually ask me here?
So I find breaking of trust a huge trigger. I cannot stand it. I don't enjoy reading about it. I don't enjoy seeing it. It's just not a fun time. So when I read this, I was just like, oh, where is this going to go? I still wanted to love Xaden. but I felt Violet's betrayal to my soul.
But did you also think, like, at least at this point, we actually don't know yet what's happened? So we have that sinking feeling, and then we sort of go, maybe it will be resolved in the next chapter. Maybe it will all... Did you think that? Or
I was thinking at the time...
like, it's done.
Yeah, so at the time I was like, it's done. Kaput. I don't like Xaden anymore. Fuck you, go away. Where's Dane? Come back. No, I'm kidding. I just remember in the moment feeling betrayed, and I was just like, I don't know how she's going to come back for this. Like, I didn't think that far ahead that it could be resolved in the next chapter. I was just like wallowing in my thoughts of what just happened.
Hopeful. I think I had that like holding your breath moment where, okay, there's going to be a explanation in the next sentence where he says, you know, they attacked me last week and I just escaped with my life. That's why I know who they are, or something that's sort of like, oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe we should jump into the next chapter and then we can talk more about the betrayal.
Yes. Yeah. So chapter 35. So Violet soon learns that Xaden has been secretly supplying weapons to the Griffin Flyers, enabling their ongoing fight against Venom. So this is like where everything is revealed. A fact that Andana and Tarn and the rest of the squad were aware of, but didn't share with her. I don't even know what's worse at this point, Xaden's betrayal or the dragons.
Totally.
Like, I was... Oh.
And what actually annoys me about this is that she holds him to account more than them. Whereas I think, well, I don't know, like, he's barely been your boyfriend. I don't even know if technically he's your boyfriend. They're your dragons. I think they have as much responsibility to tell you as he does. But somehow, in like in the rest of the book, they seem to get off scot-free, and Xaden cops it all. Which that I was like, nah, that's a bit harsh. Anyway,
I think the only saving grace to that too is I sort of thought, well, Tarn and Andana, I think at this point are like, we'll never keep a secret from you again. Like, this will never happen again. It was the wrong choice. Whereas I think Xaden, from memory in this scenario, was like, well, I have to keep secrets and I'm going to continue to keep secrets from you for a period of time about certain things. So I think that played into it. But you're right, the dragons did get off a bit easier. I digress. So, Violet feels deeply betrayed by them all and starts to question everything she knows and feels about Xaden. Xaden explains that Venom are not myths, but are very real and dangerous threats to Navarre and the wards. They have no magic inside the wards, so Navarre's leaders who are aware of the threat ignore the situation, letting those outside the wards defend for themselves. Xaden chose not to tell Violet because he couldn't risk Dane seeing her memories. The squad head to Athelbine only to find the post deserted. Oh! Colonel Atos, Dane's father, has left a note saying, "Survive if you can." As they realise that Dane may have already seen Athelbine in Violet's memories and reported to his father, who realised Xaden was supplying the weapons to the Flyers. Oh my god, this chapter!
So, most importantly, is her sense of betrayal justified?
Oh, totally. Totally.
Really? See, when I get to the end of this chapter, at this point, I am way more sympathetic to Xaden. Like, I think he had a valid reason to not tell her. And it turns out that he did have a valid reason because Dane did steal her memories.
But why doesn't Xaden suggest, after everything that Dane has done at this point, why, like, we're already sighing, like, oh my god, Dane. Why hasn't Xaden suggested at this point that Dane is reading Violet's memories more frequently than she realises?
Well, maybe he...
Because he requires touch, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think she's justified in being pissed off, but I don't think she's justified in holding it against him for a long time.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
like,
okay, fair enough.
I think they need to, like, I think he should have earlier suggested, you know, like taught her to shield herself so that people couldn't read her thoughts. Or he could have even said to her, there's stuff that I do that I cannot tell you because of the risk of Dane. So once you're trained up, then, you know, then I'll tell you. Like, I think he should have said something like that. So in that sense, I'm like, yep, I would feel betrayed too. But I think he had a valid reason. If I was Violet and Xaden explained why he didn't tell me, I would be like, yep, okay, I totally get that. But also, you could have worked around it. But I guess, is there a risk that even if he'd said to Violet, you need to get stronger so Dane doesn't read your memories, and then Dane sees that memory, then I suppose even in that sense, Xaden's exposed himself, because then Dane knows that there's something Xaden wants to hide.
Yeah, I don't even think they've figured out at this point about the shielding. I mean, maybe Xaden still feels like Violet has feelings for Dane in that friendship sort of way still, and it's still quite strong. So perhaps he felt like he didn't want to seem, I guess, bitter about
and also,
Dane.
they literally have only 12 hours ago decided.
True.
Let's sort of make a thing of it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would expect him to have unburdened all of his deepest secrets within that 12-hour period.
True.
But if it was weeks,
totally agree
if
with
they've
that.
been together for weeks, sure.
They've just got together at this point.
So yeah, I sort of thought as the
you've
rest
convinced me.
As the rest of the book progressed, I thought, no, I just cut him a little bit of slack. Particularly seeing as she doesn't seem to get upset with Tarnan and Dana much after this chapter.
Yeah. I have to admit, I don't like game playing. So when she can't make her mind about being betrayed or understanding or whatever. I understand there's an initial being pissed off, but I don't like reading about those sorts of games. I think you can make up your mind pretty quickly about whether it was justified or not.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, and not prolong it.
Yeah.
And then I would have also thought the fact that he's supplying the Griffin Riders who are outside the wards and sort of defenseless, and I mean, that's a very admirable thing he's doing, risking his life. So if I was her, I'd be thinking, oh, okay, yeah, my potential boyfriend is actually doing a pretty good thing here, what a legend. But she's just,
I think this is also a moment where Xaden is putting the cause, I guess, first, which is fair enough. Actually, is he even doing that? Because it's kind of, like you said, it's kind of reasonable. If Dane reads the memories, that's just such a big thing to happen. It would totally ruin the cause. Whereas Xaden's probably we'll fight about this. And if she's the right one for me, she'll understand why I needed to do this. Or needed to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think her betrayal is a bit immature, given in the grand scheme of things and how long they've been together and the potential risks. Yeah. And he never says in this book, I was never going to tell you. I think, in my mind, he would have told her in the natural course of events, in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
Whether he would or not, I don't know, but that's what... to maintain my, perception of Xaden, that's how my brain interprets it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he was immature at all in this moment. So this chapter has so many reveals. So many. Probably the biggest one is that Venom are not folklore and they are real. And that leadership is aware of them as well, and the lengths that they're going to hide the truth, which is just insane.
Yep.
How does this totally reframe everything we've learned so far?
Everything.
Right?
And I think it probably reframes even the purpose of their entire war college, because what are they training for? Presumably, even though the leaders are ignoring the existence of Venom, I'm assuming that they've at some point thought, well, there is a chance that this could become a threat, even if we haven't told our people about it at all. So are they actually secretly training the riders to eventually fight Venom, or are they thinking it's actually never going to be a threat? So it probably, they've probably got plans and sort of in the background things they're working on in regards to Venom that no one's aware of. Maybe, I don't know.
It's just such a weird dynamic, them just sort of pretending that everything's okay. They're so reliant on the wards, and they're also super reliant on people from nearby villages, not communicating with people communicating with people inside the wards about what's really going on.
Yeah, the first time I read it, when this came out, I actually didn't quite, not that I didn't understand it, but I didn't understand how this could be a secret As in,
it was a bit
It
unrealistic.
seemed to me like this is a bit of a hole in the plot, unless the wards are literally somehow policed, because there seems to be villagers scattered all along outside the ward, inside the ward, and they never say people can't move in and out. So I never really understood, how is everyone living in such a bubble?
I think it's a plot hole. Although you sort of hear about it in cult cultures, right? So you could probably argue it's a bit like that. So people within the cult are sort of so determined that a totally different reality exists, when outside of that bubble, it's just non-existent. And as an outsider coming into that cult, you're like, how did these people not know? How do these people not know that this is not reality? Like, you just get so brainwashed at this point.
But then does that sort of imply that the leadership would be silencing anyone that came in from an outside village that may speak of them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they are. That's the only way I could see that it would work, is that they're silencing it, or they're erasing memories of that, or convincing them that that reality isn't real. Halting communications, calling it, what's that word that you call when like fake news is passed around?
Oh, misinformation.
Yeah, something like that. I think there's another name for it. Yeah, it's misinformation, but I think there's another name for it. I think it starts with P. Anyway.
Propaganda?
Propaganda, thank you. Oh. Yeah. Like, just sort of convincing people within the wards that aren't aware of it that it's just propaganda. And I don't know, I mean, I've heard a few interviews and podcasts of celebrities getting stuck in these cults, and just their whole perception of reality is warped. And I sort of consider that very similar to what's happened here. Although that would have been nice to have been fleshed out a bit more, because it does look like a plot hole from the outside.
Chapter 36. Using his farsight, Liam sees figures approaching with purple robes and red veins spidering around red eyes. The venom. The squad are faced with a difficult decision: abandon the area or defend the outpost and surrounding civilians against the venom. One by one, they all choose to fight, even knowing the risks. They face a brutal onslaught by the venom, who are riding terrifying wyverns, which, as a reminder, are the mythical creatures designed to rival dragons. Violet uses her lightning to strike down the wyverns, but the venom prove difficult to kill and are actually immune to dragonfire. The battle escalates as Liam is thrown off Daig, his dragon, while taking out a wyvern attacking Tarn. Violet catches him as he falls across Tarn's neck, and they race after Daig, who has fallen to the ground, eviscerated by a wyvern. Liam spends his final moments lying against Daig's lifeless body. Before he dies, he asks Violet to promise she would look out for his sister when his sister joins the Riders' Quadrant. Violet agrees and then launches back into flight, overwhelmed with grief and ready to kill. Did you cry when Liam died?
Do you know what? This is a very controversial opinion, and I've considered altering this opinion. And I thought, the second time I read this, maybe I will rethink this opinion. But I had the same effect. I actually didn't feel anything for Liam's death. However, I was devastated by his dragon's death and how that all happened.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my gosh. I was just like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. Like when Daig's like flying through the air or falling, and the wyvern is just like ripping him apart. Oh, look, I've even got goosebumps even like thinking about it. And I think the wyvern was attacked again and again and again, and it just still wasn't letting go of Daig. It was just in its mind to kill. Death. It was horrific. And I was just as horrified the second time I read it as the first time. It was rough. It was very, very rough. How did you react?
In comparison, Liam's death was just curl up by the dragon and just go to sleep.
That's what I like.
Interestingly, I didn't cry, and I'm a bit of a book blubberer. I often cry.
I love that. I didn't know that about you.
Oh yeah, I've been sobbing away in books. And now I can't remember why. I didn't cry, but maybe similar. Maybe by the time that Daig had died, Liam's death didn't actually seem sort of as dramatic
Yeah, something just fell flat for me, and I wasn't sure if it was because I didn't think Liam was developed enough as a character at this point with his relationship to Violet, which is also true, but because Violet only really wants to associate with him only in the last 2 chapters when she finally links arms with him and goes to that party or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's very new, their relationship, but I think just reflecting on it now with you, you're right. The dragon's death was just so dramatic that it's sort of Liam's death didn't quite hit it after that.
The emotional sort of link, or the physical link between the two when the dragon dies, the human dies. Like, I found that was brutal. Like,
yeah, I agree.
The sort of Liam's totally fine, and he is racing to get to see his dragon before his dragon dies, and knowing that he's going to die. Like, I found that was quite an emotional moment. And I did think, why did she do this? Like, why would Rebecca write this where they both die at the same time?
But it had the emotional impact that makes it a 5-star read, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want it to happen, but you do want it to happen because it just is this extra layer of emotional depth to the whole story.
Yeah.
Also, what did you think about Liam's final words? It's been my honor to Violet.
I mean, I assume that it sort of was meant to have a bit of a emotional or dramatic impact. But I was a bit like,
I don't guess.
Okay, it's been my honor. Oh, I thought because by the time they finished, I guess they were, in my mind, they were like, they had this quite a cute friendship. Like, she'd saved him and got rid of Jack, and then he'd saved Tarn by jumping on Tarn's back, and I sort of thought they had this nice friend connection, but then for him to turn around and say it's been an honor, I was like, I mean, it was like a nice statement, but I thought, oh, if I had a friend dying in my arms, I'm not sure I'd want to hear it's been an honor. I'd want to hear, like, I love you, man, or something.
Yeah.
So it seemed quite, I thought it felt quite formal.
Yeah.
To me.
I agree. It's like, that seems to be like a viral statement that is all over Book Talk and Instagram. It's like, it's been my honor with like Liam dying. But for me, the pivotal moment, or even the quotes that stuck, were when Liam was begging to be reunited with Daig before they both died, or before Daig died. That begging,
yeah,
that ripped my heart out.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. I didn't know It's Been an Honor was all over. It was a bit of a all over Facebook or...
It's everywhere. Like, everyone still quotes it. They're like, how could you kill Liam? It's been my honor. Like, it's been my honor is just like this viral statement. But it just never hit for me.
No, me neither.
Cool, let's go into chapter 37. So a Venom rider leaps onto Tarn, stabbing him with a sword, and taunts Violet with threats, taking her to a sage. Violet unseats from her saddle to face her and quickly realizes she's on the defense as the Venom is faster and seems to predict her every move. Xaden uses his shadow powers to surround the Venom in darkness, which creates an opportunity for Violet to kill her. The Venom's death causes the nearby wyvern to fall, indicating the link between the rider and the wyvern it served on the Venom's death. Violet then realizes she should be targeting the Venom, not the wyvern, and so the shift of her focus totally changes. Tan hesitates to channel more power to Violet, fearing burnout, but Andana intervenes, freezing time again. Oh my gosh, this made me nervous.
I know.
When time slowed, Violet releases lightning and kills one of the remaining Venom, decimating the wyvern ranks. Xaden then kills the last Venom and their victory is secure. Relieved they will live through the day, Violet passes out, falling from Tarn's back and tumbles towards the ground. I love that Xaden put the Venom in total darkness so that Violet could kill the Venom.
Yeah.
I
Good
really
teamwork
enjoyed
there.
that. Oh.
Because up until when they finally defeat them, you sort of get the impression with Daig and Liam dying, like, where they are literally going to be lucky to survive this thing. So when she pieces together the connection between the Venom and the wyvern, I was like, thank God, there we go. You've only got 2 or 3 Venom. Just kill them. Don't worry about the dozens and dozens of wyvern. Yes, we finally have a foot up.
Yeah. Totally. I really enjoyed that connection. I really liked it because it was like similar to the whole dragon and rider, except in reverse. Like if you kill the dragon, it kills the rider, but not the other way around with the venom. I enjoyed that. Also, I think this is the first time we really hear about the effect of burnout and like Violet being desperate and for more and more power to kill this venom. How did this feel for you when figuring out the balance between power and also burnout? Did you think this was a bit foreshadowing for future chapters? Do you want me to ask the other question?
Wait, what's my brain thinking? The balance of power and what?
Yeah, is she going to reach burnout? Like, is she going to keep trying to draw on more and more and more power and just burn herself out for the people that she loves?
I think she is very capable of doing that, yes. But I think that I don't really have anything to say this question.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Well, there's my callback habit today. Okay, moving on. That was one of your questions, by the way. It wasn't even one of mine.
Was it? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Do you have
question
a
2.
Do you have a good response for it? But you know, this is like, I hate coming up. I am so bad at coming up with questions. And then you just go like, oh, yeah, I just added another 50 questions. I think,
That's okay. Let's move on. So the Venom taunting Violet about taking her to the Sage. What do you think they want Violet for?
Oh, do you know, I spent the rest of book 1, basically all of book 2 and book 3 wondering about this.
Yeah.
And we could probably come up with a bunch of theories. She's obviously much more powerful than any other writer of her generation, and they somehow want to use that. There is what else have we got? Is that the only thing we have?
You sounded like you had 10 dot points. I was ready for them. There was so much build up.
I think I just was hoping something else would come.
Okay.
I did have a second point, but I just lost it.
It literally sounded like you had a speech prepared.
I was thinking. I should have.
How do we recover?
Thinking of some of the comments that bloody Persephone chick said.
Look, I think as we know from future books, Violet and Xaden are pretty powerful together, even. I don't think I understood Violet's power fully at this point. I was like, so she can wield lightning, but it sounds like she can only like strike 20 times and then she's out.
And not even hit anything.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really understand it at this point why they would want her, but I can understand wanting Xaden with his shadow powers. They seem pretty powerful. This also made me think his dad or her dad was the Sage. But obviously, as we learn out from future books, that's not the case. Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably a lot more to her power that we don't even know of.
Yeah.
And maybe
I mean, we learn even more.
As well.
Yeah.
But even past, book 3, I think we'll find more and more about her power. Because, yeah, I agree. How is her power different to her mum's storm power?
It just doesn't seem that significant. Sure, if she could do one lightning strike and then branch it off in 30 different directions just from the one strike. Yeah, okay.
Well,
and then do 20 of those.
Be able to. But they have alluded to, because is it the Theophany lady, she also has the lightning strike in book 2, or is it a different character?
Yes, it is her. By the way, I need to Google her name because I feel like we're saying Theophany and I don't even think that's it. I've been saying it through the whole episode. I know. Oh, you're right. It is Theophany. Oh, yeah, you're right.
She's made a few comments to Violet, basically saying, you don't even understand your own power. There is so much I could teach you.
Yes, that's true.
So if she is just the same as Theophany, why do they need her? Because they already have a Theophany. Who we haven't met. I mean,
interesting.
This is getting into book 2. But if every power on one side is the same on the other side, have we met the Xaden's equivalent, the Venom? Because
no. But you're right. Maybe that's... I don't know. I'm confused now. I'm like, wait, she's already got Theophany, already has that lightning power. Why would they want Violet? I mean, it makes sense for Xaden, but like, is it like, what's the purpose? Are they going to combine
right. Maybe
and turn?
It's nothing to do with her power. Maybe it's the fact that her dad is the sage, and he just wants to have a good old heart-to-heart. Bring her in.
But obviously, taking from the earth is so evil, right? Like, you don't even need to be a genius to know that if you're taking from the earth as your power, that can't be good. And that's going to take from you. Because
maybe they won't be able to cure Xaden, but what they'll do is they'll find someone with the power to imbue extra life into something that Xaden can then draw upon to feed himself, so he doesn't actually need to take from the earth. They'll have
because there's that calling aspect too. Hey,
maybe
like,
maybe they'll give him they'll funnel power into in the latest book there's those like stones they can imbue, and then he can just feed from that, so he can still get his like power fix without actually taking from the earth. But one thing they haven't really described is, apart from like you take from the earth and then you kill the grass or whatever you've like sucked from, and then somehow that destroys your soul.
So the way you say that, and then you kill the grass,
whatever you've taken it from. But how does that destroy your soul? Like there's a bit of a.
I think because you're taking from Mother Earth, and from everything that I know, just, you know, if you destroy the planet, that's what's giving you survival. That's what's making you, because nothing grows back, right? Like when they draw the power from the earth and it turns barren, it's dead for good. So you can't keep doing that without destroying your entire planet. So I think it's just more of a common sense sort of thing that you can't do that. Yeah. Whereas if you're channeling power from a dragon, that obviously doesn't happen. But yeah, to be continued. All right, chapter 38.
All right. Violet is caught by Andana, who slows time to rescue her. Xaden immediately recognizes that she has been poisoned by the venom dagger she was stabbed with and needs treatment immediately. They debate taking her back to Basgiath, but decide on a closer location, although Imogen and Garrick question that decision. Violet slips in and out of consciousness as she battles with the poison's effects. Xaden tells her she is not allowed to die, not allowed to make him fall for her and then die. They arrive at their destination and Violet hears Xaden say, "You have to save her." Firstly,
I love it when he's like, "You cannot make me fall for her and then die."
I know. So good.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
So romantic.
But why do you think Imogen and Garrick say, don't bring her to this location?
I think because she's only just been made aware that the Venom are real. She's not aware of the actual rebellion, I think, yet. And so this reveals all of that. She has no protection from Jane. Yeah, like this could... If they reveal the location of the rebellion and how big it is, this could change everything. This could destroy them, especially if they're not ready. So there's a real like risk to the cause, I think, here. See, I think this is a bigger risk than knowing that the Venom are real.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. And I think we're seeing as well a shift in Xaden. Like now he's started revealing secrets. He's like, no, I don't care. Like now I've confessed my love for this person.
Might as well throw him out there.
Yeah, everything's she's in everything. She can know about everything. And then poor Adana using her power again to stop time. Every time she uses her power, I think, what's gonna happen? See,
I thought Adana was gonna die. Like she kept using it and she wasn't supposed to, and I was like, there's got to be consequences. What is happening? And then the fact that Violet had bonded 2 dragons, I was like, she can lose one and she can still survive. What is going to happen here? Yeah, that was making me so nervous.
I agree.
So nervous.
I spent every book just thinking, every chapter, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? Who's gonna die of the dragons? She can't lose Tarn unless she can start actually riding on Endana.
Yes. And I think Rebecca Yarros knows that too. She wanted to build that suspense up. It was so good. All right, should we get into chapter 39?
Final chapter.
So the final chapter of Fourth Wing is here, and it's told from Xaden's perspective. So 3 days have passed since the battle against the Venom. Violet has been mended but hasn't woken, and Xaden has been reflecting on the fact that he cannot live without her and should have told her while he had the chance. Violet awakens and quickly realizes she's in the city of Orisha, which was believed to be destroyed by the rebellion. She agrees to fight with Xaden and the cause, but that doesn't mean she's willing to trust her heart to him again.
Harsh.
Oh, rough. Xaden boldly declares she still loves him and he's willing to prove himself to her over and over and over again. Before they finish their conversation, they're interrupted by the arrival of Violet's supposedly dead brother, Brennan. Oh my gosh! Who reveals he's healed her and welcomes her to the revolution.
Did that shock you?
I
Did you see it coming?
Shook. Not at all.
No,
and in
I didn't
fact,
either.
because I know you read it on Kindle and you were talking about Xaden's perspective being sort of throughout the book, but in the paperback version, you don't get Xaden's perspective until the very end, and it goes back in time to those moments.
Oh, yeah.
I could not read Xaden's perspective chapters the first time around after that cliffhanger. I needed to go immediately into Iron Flame. So I skipped that totally the first time that I read it. Because I was like, I don't care. I don't care about, I know he loves her at this point. I don't need his perspective. I need to know what's happening with this, with Brennan.
That's so funny. Yeah, it threw me. I think because he wasn't a huge sort of figure in book one, except, I guess he'd left her that book actually, hadn't he? So you sort of you do hear reference to him as you throughout the book, but I never, with all those references, I never got the impression, oh, he's going to come back. Whereas I thought with the dad, I was thinking, I don't know that the dad's dead. I don't know that the dad's dead.
Yeah.
So we're obviously picking up on something, just the wrong person.
I think that was so well done. Really, really well done.
Yeah.
Like there was no suspicion for me about Brennan.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I did enjoy in this chapter Xaden's bold declaration that you still love me and I'm going to prove it to you. I love that, like, now we've spent the whole book not really sure where he stands, but now he's just like 100% nah, let's give this a go. And annoyingly now she's the one that's a bit no.
Yeah.
But her big statement of, I'm not sure if I can open my heart to you again, that annoyed me. I was like,
oh, it
come on,
was
guys.
so not relevant. Like, so wrong.
Literally both just almost fought to your death. Like, surely you realise he had reasons for not telling you, and get over it.
There was nothing about that statement that I enjoyed reading. I mean, I have to admit, I was so obsessed with the book at this point, I did sort of brush it aside and I was like, whatever, that's just a moment Violet's having. Let's move on. This book is so good!
Yeah.
But reflecting back on it, obviously we know what happens in Iron Flame and there's a bit of those communication trust issues going on, continuing. That's where it gets really annoying.
I guess
and it's never worth
tension.
No, it doesn't. It's just annoying.
Yeah, find another way.
Find a different conflict.
Agreed.
I don't know. Even, yeah.
The other thing I really like about the end of this chapter, with her brother saying, welcome to the revolution, is that it sets, you get the feeling that book 2 is going to open and we're going to be introduced to this extra world, because now we're in Orisha and the rebellion and what's happening in that city. Like, who knows? We don't know anything about it. So I love that it sort of opens up to a bigger world, and we get
that ending was 5 stars. Yeah.
Great.
It was a great ending. So that's the end of Fourth Wing. What an epic journey. Oh my gosh. I mean,
it.
Sarah knows. Loved it. Not only loved it, it was beyond 5 stars for me. This is God tier. I think I could easily read it again and again and again every year and still love it.
And this is the book that got you back into reading after how many years?
Oh, since I would have been in my early teens, at least 15 years.
Yeah, that's huge. That's massive.
Yeah. I'm thinking the last series I ever read, I started reading stuff in my early teens. I was reading Eragon, that other dragon one.
Oh, yep.
By Christopher Paolini. And I think that was the last series that I ever read. I was super into Harry Potter. Otherwise, before that, I think I did read Twilight. But yeah, then I just stopped until Fourth Wing. And this was not the book that I expected. When I reached out to mum friends for a recommendation for a book while I went away to Bali, I was like, I need something easy to read. I need something smutty. I need good book boyfriend material. Like, I just wanted something easy. So when I got this, I had no idea it was a dragon book. I had no idea it was a fantasy until I actually read it. And I loved going into it having no idea about anything, but going in blind. That was the best experience.
And then you told me you were reading it and I'd never heard of it. And I said, okay,
yes.
I'll start it the exact same day.
Yeah. And somehow you overtook me as well. Like, I was still like a few chapters ahead of you on the plane, and then you like
midnight every night reading it when we were in Bali. And you were sensible and going to bed.
It was funny because I remember when we were walking to our accommodation when we first arrived in Bali, I remember telling you that I brought both books along, like Fourth Wing and the second one, Iron Flame, just in case I finished Fourth Wing. And you were like, oh, you're never going to get through one book. Like within that time for a week. And literally we finished it, I think, on day 4 or something, and then got straight into Iron Flame.
Imagine if you didn't bring it and I read the second one on my Kindle and you were sitting there like without a book. You would have been pissed.
Someone was looking out for me in the moment that I bought that second book.
And
Epic series,
have, like,
God tier.
copies of them each.
I have 2 copies. Thank you
2.
very much. But
yes,
I would...
we recommend.
Yeah. If you love ACOTAR, if you love Sarah J Maas, you will love Fourth Wing. Like, it's totally different concepts, totally different worlds. The writing is very different, but it's just as enjoyable to read. And it's the same romanticy vibe.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, that's a wrap from us today. We will be back with our TBR jars next week. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button, do a big thumbs up, comment down below telling us which book you're dying to read each month, or even leave a dragon emoji for the conclusion of our Fourth Wing episode. Until next time, bye.
Bye.